Hi everyone, my name is Alice and today we'll be taking a look at data provided by Kickstarter. It's a global crowdfunding platform and it's commonly known for the creative projects. Why this topic? I really enjoy and admire the spirit and the grit of entrepreneurial endeavors of my friends and family who are entrepreneurs. I often feel very invested in their journey as well as their triumphs and challenges. One of my favorite podcasts has to be Guy Raz's How I Built This, which I find to be engaging and entertaining. To briefly introduce the dataset, it contains data on about 213,000 campaigns with 37 features. The features consist of various campaign characteristics, including those of categories, dates, photos, text, and amounts. Some of the earliest campaigns in this dataset go back to the launch of Kickstarter itself in April of 2009. For the target, the objective here is to predict on whether a campaign will be successfully funded. At a basic level, the goal of a given campaign typically is to reach a preset funding goal. Because Kickstarter runs an all or nothing model, a given campaign will only be funded if it meets that funding goal. With that, I can see how a model could be useful for either creators who are seeking out sources of funding or for prospective supporters. Here we have some EDA. We can see in terms of the classes that this successful to ratio to its counterparts is about 63-37%. In terms of the campaign goal, we see that successful projects have preset goals at about half that of its counterparts. In terms of category of project for these campaigns, we see that art, film and food, and music are popular. And in terms of campaign goal across categories, food and technology typically have higher preset goals. In terms of campaign launch dates and campaign deadline dates, we see that days earlier in the week are more popular for launch dates and days later in the week are more popular for deadline dates. In terms of my model and the baselines that I tried, the random forest came out superior to the grid line, the gradient boosting that I tried. And in order to improve on this model, I looked into adding the NLP text feature. And here we have the results of a tuned random forest with that NLP feature added in. Here is the ROT curve for that random forest classifier. That blue point on the curve I just wanted to highlight shows or corresponds to the optimal threshold of 55%, which could be an improvement on the model. And here we have the top features that came from the classifier. As you can see, there's a variety in terms of campaign characteristic features or categories or words that came from the NLP vectorization. Just to highlight a couple of the top features, you can see that successful projects typically take about 10 more days to launch on average in between the creation and its launch date. And then in terms of the length of the campaign, successful projects typically allot about 4 to 5 fewer days than its counterparts. In terms of future steps, I'd be interested to look into PCA for dimensionality reduction because of all the categorical features and the NLP features available within this data set. Dimensionality reduction could help with optimizing the model. And then secondly, there was also data on photos that are included in the campaigns, which would be interesting to look at with convolutional neural networks. Thank you for taking the time. I'll now open the floor to any questions you may have.